Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and we got another first class guest up in the building today. But before we continue, I want to remind everybody that we are live in Bravery Studios in Garfield, New Jersey. Shout out to Najee Beyond the Glass. Hope everything's going well, brothers. So, ladies and gentlemen, I always like to promise you the best of the best, and I think this person really applies. This is a person that has been doing everything, and I do mean everything in the entertainment industry. They've been doing music, they've been doing acting, they've been doing theater, they've been doing commercials, TV, all that stuff. So this person is really indoctrinated in the culture very well, and she's only at the age of 27, so there's a lot much to go for. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, my guest Carina Barrios is in the building. What is going on, Carina?
Hello, thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you for coming in, Clutch.
And the introduction was great for sure, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And I also definitely thank you because this is actually a last minute thing. This just kind of popped up. I did have a guest, but unfortunately they couldn't make it, and I just asked you. I took a shot in the dark, and I was very fortunate that you said yes, and I'm very fortunate that you're now here on the show.
Yeah, we made it happen.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So let's start at the beginning, if we may. So where do you hail from? Like, where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in South Jersey, down by the Atlantic City area.
I will be there tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah? Hey!
Yeah.
What casino are you going to?
No, I'm not going for work. I'm not going for pleasure. I'm going for work,
Okay.
Unfortunately. I'll be like around Egg Harbor, Ship, and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, born and raised out there, lived out there, most of my life. Went to high school out there, all that good stuff. And then when I was 20, I moved to Connecticut for about a year. That was the only time I moved out of state.
And I was there yesterday.
Yeah?
Figure, yeah?
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Traveling.
Yeah. Not for pleasure, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's good. If it's for work, that means you're getting paid to travel. So
yeah. We'll roll with that. But
okay.
I guess I want to go to a point where I travel and make money doing something that I love. But I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's the goal for sure.
Exactly.
But and then I moved out to Connecticut because I was working on a reality show actually, and that went to hell. So I moved back to South Jersey for a little while, and then I moved to North Jersey about 4 years ago. I started freelance modeling. That is what made me move up here. So yeah.
Being closer to New York and stuff.
Yeah, closer to New York. Yeah, I was getting booked very often in North Jersey and New York City. So I said you know what? Let's just move again, and the money's out here. What I'm doing is out here. There's so much more going on up in North Jersey versus South Jersey. So
right.
Yeah.
Now, can you repeat to me and my audience what you told me earlier about your ethnicity, because I think that's very, very unique.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm Puerto Rican, Korean, and Italian.
Okay. Now, can you speak any of those other languages?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you're a trifecta, but basically the only two languages that you speak is English and broken English.
See. Yes.
So I mean, but I'm kind of like you in that way because I am Hispanic. I'm Colombian and Costa Rican, but unfortunately didn't grow up fluently speaking Spanish. And I don't know if that was something that was a knock on you. Was it? Did they try to teach it to you, or it just never really was brought up?
No, yeah. To be honest, my dad, he was half Puerto Rican, half Korean.
Okay.
And he
What a
knew,
mix.
Yeah, I know, right? A lot of people thought he was Hawaiian or something.
Okay.
But yeah, so he was not fluent in either or, more so Spanish, I would say. But he did know some Korean, because my mom, my dad's mom, she's from Korea. She came to America when she was 23, I believe, and spoke no English. So she learned everything as soon as she moved out here. So even now she has such a thick accent, and communicating with her can be, a little difficult sometimes. So he definitely learned some Korean. I believe, she taught him.
Yeah.
And but for me, and I have a younger brother too, we were never taught. For real, yeah. Certain little things, but it wasn't pushed on us to learn the language.
Yeah, it wasn't really pushed on me either, but I always talk about this all the time. I think it's kind of funny where if my mom specifically was yelling at me in Spanish, that's when I know I did something wrong. I fucked up in some way, and I knew I was about to get my ass beat. So that's when I had to run for cover, and that was really the only time that I got spoken to in Spanish when I was younger. So I mentioned before that you're only 27 years old, and you've already done. Looking at your resume, you've done a lot in the arts. But I want to go back a little bit more. So obviously, you are very talented and inclined, and you don't keep yourself in a box. You do a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But between acting and singing and all this other stuff that you've done, which one would you say was the one that grasped at you first before you delved into all these other genres?
Music.
Okay.
For sure. Like, as soon as I was, maybe 3, maybe even a little younger, like when I could comprehend what music really was, and like remember words and lyrics and everything.
Was there any type of music that stuck out to you more than most?
I mean, my first like musical inspiration was Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Like, I can vividly remember listening like to his songs and dancing. And my mom Suki, my Korean grandmother, she put me on to Michael Jackson. Honestly, she would babysit me very often, and she had tons of vinyl records, and she would spin a lot of his records. So like, I just remember being at her house and listening to all his music. And yeah, those are like some of my first like core memories when I think about the relationship I have with music,
Okay.
And then it just like stemmed from there. Yeah.
Was it something that you were naturally talented with your vocals already, or did you actually do work to it? Like, did you do singing classes or lessons or anything like that?
No.
Or it was just really with you all this time?
Yeah. So, over the years, of course, like I taught myself and, watching certain videos on YouTube of how to like do vocal lessons on my own time and everything. But like vocally trained professionally, no. Never. So.
But it seems to me that you were a very performative person at the very beginning. So did you also come from a family where they were always supportive of you doing something like this at the very beginning? Or was there a little bit of trepidation or kind of fear that, like as much as they believe in you, it's a difficult business to be in?
Right. I mean, when I was young, so like at 4 years old was the first time I touched the stage. I was in like school plays every year since like 4, since kindergarten, I guess.
Sure.
So, growing up, my family knew that I loved to like entertain and be on stage, perform. I would do talent shows every year as well.
And you wouldn't get nervous at all. You would just go right at it.
I love performing. Honestly, I think that's my comfort zone. Like, really, I feel like the stage is like my home. I'm kind of numb in those moments when I'm on stage, but it's just because that like adrenaline is rushing through me.
Yeah.
But I love it. Like the lights blinding me and just like, yeah.
And I think because it happened so early for you that you basically just got acclimated to it a lot quicker than a lot of people.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there's times I'm still like a little anxious and nervous before going on stage,
Well, yeah, because
depending
you want to put on a good show.
Yeah,
I mean, you strike me as a
exactly.
person that as much things that you do within your crafts, you want to be able to give the best of yourself and not half-ass anything.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And that's like such a big thing for me too, is like, I try to give my all when I perform. And I also tell other artists as well, like, make the most of that moment. Because no matter who's there at these showcases or shows, whatever, you have that opportunity to showcase your talent. So you got to really like make the most of it and harness the energy that's in that room so people remember you,
Would you say by any chance that because of what you do, singing, acting, all this stuff in the arts, and when you were going to school, would you say that you were definitely one of the popular people?
Sure.
Okay.
We can say that. I was a cheerleader as well, so there's like a stigma that goes along with that too. But that's not like what I was. But I was involved in a lot of things in school. So I think that's what it was. And I also went to the same school basically my whole life. So like, I grew up with a lot of the same friends, and a lot of people knew me like in the community. I tried to be involved as much as I could as well. So.
And the reason that I asked that is because I feel like when you've done all of these things at such an early age, and you're getting a lot more popular, or people are noticing you a lot more because of everything that you're doing, sometimes it would make me think, and this is just me talking, but I guess I want to get your thoughts on this, that sometimes you could bring yourself to bring unnecessary pressure on you at times, and it could be a humbling experience every now and then when some things don't always work out, because it's almost like you're kind of subconsciously putting yourself on a pedestal because you want to be great, you want to do great, but at the end of the day, we're all human, and everything can't always be peaches and cream or anything like that.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, I think I've been dealing with those emotions more now than I was younger, because like when I was younger, I was just doing it for fun, doing it because I loved it. And I'm still doing it because I love it and for fun.
As you should, yeah.
There's more of that purpose and that passion and like those goals behind it, And I'm 27 now, so it's like, we got to figure out what I'm doing with my life. At like 14, 15, that pressure wasn't like on like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard. Every day is like a battle from within. But when you know you love something and you know you have a passion for something, it makes it easy to still like go after it. So yeah, I kind of forget what the exact question was that you asked me.
Well,
but...
just putting unnecessary pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Because also, like, let's be honest here. It's not something that is being told at a school or anything like that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
in the industry, specifically in arts, whether it's film, music, whatever the case may be, no matter like you being the fact of being a woman, there are going to be some benefits, but there are also going to be some uphill battles as well.
Right, yeah.
And one of the things that I keep hearing stories about with people that I know in the industry, specifically females, is they have all the talent in the world and they're very driven and they're very passionate about what they do and everything. But I think a common thing that seems to happen, unfortunately, is them getting involved with the wrong people that may have the best intentions in the beginning, only to show their true colors later on down the line.
Yeah, I've dealt with that for sure. Perfect example is when I moved to Connecticut, actually. So was working on like a little reality show out there, and it was about, my music, my artist development, what it takes to like be a pop star, basically. And yes, like in the beginning, everything was amazing. Everything was awesome, like met up with the whole team. And then I decided to, because at first I was traveling once a week to Connecticut from South Jersey. So that was crazy. I was driving like 5 hours every Tuesday there and back. But then I decided to move out there. So that was just like such a huge thing. I was just dedicating my life to this production and this opportunity because I was betting on it, you know? So my hopes and dreams were at an all-time high for, yes, everything to be destroyed and come crashing down because the executive producer, which was a man, just decided to like not know how to handle his own like mental things going on, I guess, and it just all trickled down, and along with so many other things. But yeah, and it turned into a very toxic like working environment. A lot of the other people on the team like were feeling it as well. So it was a crazy thing, and yeah, that was probably like the biggest thing when it comes to like, I guess, that power that men feel like they have sometimes over women, especially in the music industry, and when someone is quote unquote like your boss, or they own you. So yeah, so I've been through that, don't get me wrong. I've signed 2 contracts before in my life, and I don't think I'll do it again unless it like truly makes sense and I own what I would like to own, So yeah, but like, I'm going to just add my little piece in here, like advice for the ladies out there that are pursuing this, especially in the entertainment and music industry, is like, stay true to who you are. Go with your gut instinct all the time. Don't ever second guess yourself. And just continue to push, man. Like, if you have this dream, keep going for it. Like, no dude, no woman, nobody will ever like be able to stop you unless you let them. So keep doing the damn thing.
Absolutely. And, my next question, but you pretty much answered it already, is how did you not let something like that discourage you personally? Because I feel like not everybody would have came to the same conclusion as you. I mean, you hear all these stories all the time about, and it doesn't even have to be related to women. Apparently it can happen to anybody.
In general,
it doesn't matter what gender you are or anything. But as we see from documentaries like, Quiet on the Set and stuff like that, it can happen to anybody. And, depending on the type of mental capacity one may have, they could either choose to push forward, or it just goes so beyond repair that they choose not to be in the relationship.
They crawl in a ball, yeah. And don't get me wrong, I've been there. That's where I was once everything, crumpled to pieces. But it's that journey of like building yourself back up, when it was a pretty crazy situation, how like that ended and how everything played out. You want me to get into it a little bit?
Of course, yeah,
okay,
feel free.
Cool. So I haven't talked too much about this. I don't think I've ever said this on camera before. But so things were already like really crazy. Like, working environment was really toxic and stuff. But what made me say, I'm done with this, one day I pulled up to the studio. The producer, he opened the door and he looked so high. And he was not somebody that like did drugs. He was like a good guy. You know what I mean? Like, doing drugs and drinking was not in his character. So it was very weird. You know, I just noticed his eyes were like really low, was very slow and sluggish. And I'm like, what's going on? He was like, you made me take these pills. You stressed me out. All this, like, put everything on me. I'm like, what the hell? So I was like, you know what? Like, this is too much. I'm done. Like, we're no longer working together. I grabbed my stuff out the studio. It was a whole thing. So much more. But it's too juicy. I can't say it now. So
hopefully nothing that'll get us in trouble legally or anything.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's just like crazy. So it's down a deep dark hole. But anyways, so yeah, it was a pretty traumatic like thing, you know, for me. And also I moved to a whole different state that I knew nobody in. I started working 2 jobs. I was going to the studio almost every day. I was dedicating my life to this production. And so it was just like a whole change for me. And yes, I was extremely stressed out. That was the first time I really realized how your body can react to stress. I broke out in pimples everywhere. And like, it was bad. Like, my body literally had a reaction. I felt so crazy. And yes, I was very sad and didn't understand and constantly asked myself, why? But it's like, you know, that experience taught me such a lesson. You know, I know so much now going into, you know, any other partnership or like working relationship, knowing what it should be like and knowing what it shouldn't be like, you know? So it's just really finding that strength and understanding that, like, if you love something and you know you want to do something, you have to keep going for it, or else like the rest of your life you're going to regret it, you know?
Yeah, no, listen, I get it. And I talked about this on the show plenty of times, where that's where I'm at right now. And the one caveat that I want to add on is, for anybody that's out there that's watching and listening, don't necessarily let age be a factor. What I mean by that is, I didn't start doing any of the stuff that I'm doing now until my mid 30s.
Okay.
You know, I did attempt to do some things when I was your age and a little bit younger, and it just didn't pan out. And then there was a period in my life where I just said, fuck this. I'm not doing this. It's not worth it. Maybe I'm not destined for greatness like I thought I was, and so on and so forth. And it led me to a point where I just became a regular good old citizen, you know, just you know, a cog in the machine, and it depressed the shit out of me. And I had to get back to where I was. But the point that I'm getting at is, don't let a factor like age discourage you from doing what you want. I mean, there's been people that have been successful in the arts and in the industry at much later times. I mean, as far as I know, Samuel L. Jackson, one of the most bankable movie stars of all time, didn't really make it big until he was 42. So, and that's actually very inspiring in itself. And I could only imagine that there's somebody out there like me or anybody else that you may know that they could be around the age range that we are, like in between where you and I stand, and they feel discouraged or they don't know what they want to do with their life.
Right.
But I don't think that we should be drawing lines on like when there's a cutoff time and telling people like you can only do this or that until a certain point in your life. Because at the end of the day, passion has no age.
Right.
Dreams have no age. So as long as you get out of that mindset and then just focus on what the fuck you need to do, you're going to be fine.
Exactly. And I like what you said too, the whole destined for greatness thing. Like, I think at the end of the day, that's what it really comes down to, at least for me. And this is where like confidence kicks in, you know, because I truly believe in order to succeed in anything, but especially the music industry and the entertainment industry, you gotta have that confidence. And like, if you have to fake it till you make it, and it's coming from a good intention and somewhere good inside of you, then like, that's what you gotta do, man. Because at the end of the day, like, the whole destined for greatness thing is like, that's what keeps me going every day. Because I truly do believe I am destined for greatness. Like, I have a picture in my mind of what like the top quality of greatness in my life would look like, but I'm not expecting that, because then you get disappointed, right? But it's like, I know I'm destined for greatness no matter what that greatness ends up actually looking like, you know?
And when you say something like that, I can tell that you're saying it with confidence. Excuse me, I can't even fucking talk today. You do it with confidence and not ego.
Yeah.
Because it like, it's pretty easy to sniff that out when people are doing it for ego, or if they truly believe in it and they have the confidence in themselves.
Yeah.
And you don't strike me as the person that does it for ego.
Thank you. And if you are somebody that's doing this for ego, like, good luck, man. Good luck, because chances are it's not going to work out. And if it does, everybody's going to see through it. So.
I mean, the way that you just described it, it sounds like you know a couple of stories behind
For
the
sure.
scenes that, you know, people with their ego, and it just goes to shit.
Yeah, it does. And it's like, even if people, like, you know, start watching for a little while or start peeping for like a little bit of time, it never lasts long. You know what I mean? And even people that, like, I mean, nowadays too, it's because of like social media and stuff. Like, a lot of people do pop very easily, or they'll come up with some type of like propaganda or tactic in order to go viral, or for something to like go big. And it works sometimes, you know, it does, but it doesn't stick. It doesn't stay. And it's not timeless.
Right.
And that's what I believe in. Like, I want everything that I do to be timeless. So.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you're saying this and you're displaying this kind of confidence, because not to get too deep on this subject right now, and I'm not even a political animal like that, but based on the political landscape that we're in right now, it just seems that it's going to be an even bigger uphill battle for minorities and women and a whole bunch of other stuff and everything. But you having the persona that you have, and not letting any of the outside noise, you know, basically stop you with what you got to do. I think we need to see more of that, because it's going to be difficult times ahead, unfortunately, for everybody, especially women of your caliber, you know, minority, women, the whole nine. And, you know, I guess what I'm just trying to get at is, it's good to see something like that and somebody of your caliber and your persona in a time where there's so much uncertainty that's going to go on right now.
Thank you. No, for sure. I mean, the world is so crazy. There's so much we cannot control. But I do also really believe, like, what I like to say is, like, it's my world and y'all are just living in it. Like, but I think everybody should think like that, you know? This is your world. Like, you are literally in control of your world. And I didn't understand that until probably a few years ago. But, like, you know, and that's what also keeps me a little bit at peace with all the craziness going on in the world that I cannot control, is, like, let's focus on the things that I can, you know? And, like, and if I do, and I make good decisions, and I am disciplined with those decisions, and doing things with good intentions, like, I will become closer and closer to my goals. And not only that, but I hope to be, like, a better person too, you know, and growing from within.
Right.
So.
And, you know, one of the best lessons that I've learned, even very recently, is like you said, it's my world and everybody else is just living in it. When I think of it from that perspective, and then everything that I've learned as far as lessons are concerned in the past couple of years, one of the things that I can come to the conclusion of is, like, okay, it's my world and you know, everybody's living in it. Why the fuck do I want certain individuals still want to be in my world? Like, I could just not have them in there.
Yeah.
Because it's not being beneficial. You know what I mean? Like, you see their true colors, and they, you know, they're snakes and backstabbers and everything like that. Why are you still trying to keep them around?
Right.
And, you know, I know it comes off as like some sucker shit, or, you know, it's easier said than done, but it's a real thing, you know?
It is a real thing. I mean, and I think it is easier said than done sometimes, you know? It definitely is. But at the end of the day, everything is temporary. The only constant is change, and that's another huge lesson that I learned in my life. So yeah, and, like, for me personally, not to get too deep, but, like, y'all are gonna relate. Yeah, and, like, let's get deep.
On the show,
yeah, let's get deep. Like, I've lost, you know, some of the closest people, some of the most loved ones in my life, you know, at a young age too. So it's like, and I'm sure other people have gone through that, you know? So if you're able to lose, like, somebody that you love so much, you know, someone that you looked up to your whole life, really. I mean, for me personally, this is what happened. But when people, you know, after that, and hopefully you grow through that, you heal from that. And when people come into your life and they don't treat you well, they don't give you the respect and the love that you deserve, and it is time for you to let them go, you have to remember how strong you were at the moment that that person did love you, and you didn't have the choice to let them come in and out of your life. You had to just accept that, and then you healed from it, you know? So you have to focus on that strength within you, because this person did you dirty or did you wrong or, like, whatever it is. They just don't align with you. You know, they're not serving you anymore. So you just have to focus on that. Like, I've dealt with bigger losses, you know? So it's like, if you are providing no goodness to my life, you just gotta cut the ties, man. And it is easier said than done, but you just gotta focus on that. Like, what do you want out of your future? If this person is, you know, distracting you from those good things, then they gotta go.
But what are some things, for example, that you can give or share that has helped you with that mindset and getting out of that rut?
Staying with certain people too long, or having certain people around me for too long and becoming unhappy, you know, and like going out of my way to like fix certain things that were never my problem. It becomes so tiring. And yeah, so like after you do that so many times, you just start to learn. It's like, what do they say? Everything's a cycle, basically. You know, you're going to keep getting the lesson until you decide you want to learn it and then apply it. So it's just, you know, everything's a process, and it takes time to really learn. So.
Yeah, but I think what also helps out is the fact that you and I are both artists in our respective, you know, terms, and we are able to compartmentalize and add that into our art. And, you know, you being a music artist as well, I'm pretty sure that you're able to write that and use that in your songs.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that is where a lot of those like unsaid emotions go, you know?
It's almost like writing in a diary and just saying it out loud, right?
Yeah. I mean, kind of. I mean, to be honest, yes. The way I like to think of it is like, I literally feel like I'm the diary. And when I write my songs, I'm like just unfolding, you know? Like the pages just come out and they're flipping, being ripped out and thrown out all at the same time. So... But yeah, I mean, you know, processing emotions is such like an important thing, I think, overall. But especially when you are an artist, you know, you have that like outlet. But I hope everybody, no matter what it is that like you love to do, is that you have an outlet to like release those emotions, but also speak on your emotions, because it is important to do so.
I believe that. I believe that. Now, I've mentioned before also on the show that my favorite part of doing the podcast is what we're doing right now. My least favorite thing to do is like the before and after stuff. Like, you know, I don't mind doing the bookings and everything, but, you know, there's research that goes into it because I take my research pretty seriously. You know, there's the post stuff, which is like the editing and doing the social media stuff and so on and so forth. So that's like my least favorite stuff. In your world, so to speak, when it comes to music or acting or whatever, what would you say? Obviously, doing the actual thing, like actually performing, is the good part, but what are some of the things that are like your least favorite things as far as like the process is concerned?
Right. Least favorite is probably like, that post, you know, time. Like in the sense of writing a song, it's like, you know, making the song, it's done, and then, okay, what's the plan now? You know, and I don't have a team. I do everything mostly myself, you know. Don't get me wrong, I've definitely worked with great people and worked with great people, but when it comes to like, Carina, what are we doing? It's from me.
You're the head honcho.
Yeah, so that is, you know, sometimes it ends up being like my favorite part at the end of it all, because I'm like, wow, look what I did, you know? But it's that like having these products or having this thing and then like figuring out how to make it tangible, how to make people love it, how to make people want more, like the process of, like letting everybody know what's going on, and making sure people like love it just as much as I do, you know? So I think that's probably my least favorite part, is just like planning that whole rollout and, you know, marketing and posting, editing, all of that. There's things within it that I definitely enjoy and moments of it that I enjoy, but it's stressful. It's way more stressful than just like creating, you know?
Do you ever get that pushback by any chance of, because you're the boss of your own, of everything, and, you know, you're very independent and you're strong-willed and everything, does sometimes the perception of you come across as very intimidating because you're so on top of everything on your own?
I think so. I've heard that before. So I'll say, yeah, I don't love that, but I don't mind it. Because I feel like that will attract serious people. You know what I mean? Like working wise, like they're going to know that I don't mess around. But also it comes off, I've heard before that like I'm a perfectionist and I can be like a little bossy or whatever, but it's like in those moments, especially when I'm on set, like for my own music videos, I'm like a little crazy. But I don't care. I don't care because it's my vision that I'm trying to make real, and bring it to life. And I want to be happy with the final product. And I know what I want it to look like. I spend the time and plan everything out. So, I want to present myself to the best possible capacity that I can. So everyone that's playing a part like behind me or next to me needs to be in that mindset as well. So, yeah, I try to motivate, too, and inspire. But sometimes, yes, it can be a little intimidating. I do know like what I want most of the time. I'm not too indecisive when it comes to certain things. So, yeah, but I have a good heart though. So.
I mean, if I thought you didn't, you wouldn't be on the show. So.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've spoken about this before on my show, and I like to get people's opinions on it sometimes. Obviously, like, you just put it out there. You're on top of your stuff. You're doing this, you're doing that. You know what you want to do. You strive for greatness and so on and so forth. But because, at the end of the day, we're all human.
Yeah.
Do you ever have any of those moments of vulnerability or maybe feeling like a bit of imposter syndrome at times?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely moments where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? But the imposter syndrome sometimes comes too, because it's like, I guess looking at myself every day and believing in myself so much. And yes, I have people that support me and believe in me too, that I'm so thankful for. But it's like, am I going crazy a little bit? You know what I mean? Like, am I really doing this for a reason, or is this for no reason? And then, when I do like post certain things or like go to certain shows and, those like reassuring comments of like, you're dope and like your music is awesome and da 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 da, or whatever it is. Yeah, it definitely helps. And like, I think that grounds me. It just reassures me that like I'm on the right path, I'm making something and creating something that people can enjoy as well. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I love how you contextualized it, because it shows that not only like in so many ways you love what you do, you care what you do, and it's not necessarily just for you. It's also for anybody else that is willing to hear you out and support you and all this stuff. It goes back to what you were saying earlier before. Like, this is your world and everybody's living in it, and you want to be the best. You want to make it the best world possible for everybody that's in it.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. And that's the thing is like, I think this goes for anybody that wants to do something, but especially like be a public figure or a celebrity or whatever you want to call it and have that influence. Is like, you better be doing it for a great reason and for a good reason and to serve others in the world and to give. Because I also truly believe the only way to receive is to give. And, that's why I make music, is not only because I love it and enjoy music, but I want to put out a good message in this world. I want to inspire others. I want to motivate others so they can do what they love, I don't think we get enough of that. And I think a lot of people that are in the spotlight and are already like at the top of the charts or whatever, I think nowadays there's more like authentic people seeping through because people's mindsets are changing on like what's okay and what's acceptable, I guess.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Even still, some of the biggest artists right now they're not really using their platform for positivity and for goodness and to give back and all this other stuff. So, the small platform that I have now, I try to do that with. So I can't even imagine that if and when, I'm on the top of the charts too.
Right.
Like, I can't wait to give back to the world,
Yeah, and I feel simpatico with you in respects, and what I mean by that, to give you a little bit more context.
What is that?
It's like similar.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm learning something new.
Yeah, there you go. Learn something new every day. But so like when I started the show, one of the things that I was not expecting, but I appreciate it humbly nonetheless, is me just using this platform to be as brutally honest as I want to, because I felt for a very long time that I couldn't get my voice out there because I was always being shunned, or people were telling me to mind my own goddamn business, or nobody wants to hear that shit, so on and so forth. And I felt like I compartmentalized way too much to the point where like my lid was about to possibly implode. And I'm very fortunate to have this platform where I could be as brutally honest as much as I want. And even though it may have rubbed off people the wrong way in certain respects, at the end of the day, I can't necessarily think about doing it for them. I got to do this for me because this show started with me, and and it's gonna finish with me. But one of the things that I wasn't expecting is, with me being as brutally honest as I can with myself and everything that I think of, and even with people that I talk to, I was not expecting people to respect it to the point where they feel like it's okay and it's comfortable to talk about the things that I'm brutally honest about. You know, like one of the things that I never thought I would be named as is a mental health advocate. I've been very proponent of that ever since I started the show, and it's what's gotten me on other people's platforms and podcasts and stuff like that to talk about that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I was that's not something that I was striving for in the beginning when I first started the show, but I'm so glad that it took on that approach because it turned into something that became much bigger than I thought it was, and for the better, as opposed to just doing it for clout or anything like that, like some people I know in this industry.
Yeah, for sure. And I think mental health is such an important thing that always needs to be talked about. But being honest is also another thing that needs to happen more often.
Yeah.
And, you know, the world we live in today, and especially with social media, I think it's great that, like, more people are being vocal about all these things. I've seen it so much more often than, you know, even like 5 years ago, let's say. Like, there has been a change. There's also a lot of crazy changes going on and not so good ones. But, you know, people speaking up. And, you know, I appreciate you for doing that as well. You did start a platform that you are able to be honest and speak to your followers and supporters and let them know that these things are normal, you know, and there's resources and ways to get through these things. So, and people need to be reminded of that more often. So yeah, like, I appreciate you for being a mental health advocate for sure.
Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. So getting back to you a little bit, because at the end of the day, the show's about you. This episode's about you at the end of the day, not so much about me. But going back into like your career and in your art and like acting and music and so on and so forth, you've seen both spectrums. Just kind of like, as far as like sticking with the cautionary tale aspect of it, which in your experience, what would you say is like, maybe, for lack of a better term, the slimiest, you know, people to be around? Is it more of the film industry or the music industry, like the ones that you really have to really set your boundaries up for?
Yeah, I say the music industry for sure, because I don't know. I mean, at least in my experience, because I can honestly say I don't think I ever went like full force in the acting industry. You know, this music shit, definitely am trying my hardest every day. So, like,
well, it kind of makes sense because that's what got you at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, like, you like, it was Michael Jackson that grasped you, not Meryl Streep, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. So, and, you know, I picked up acting just as I went along, and it was really because of school. Like, you know, school plays was the first thing that I could, like, do and entertain, you know? But yes, I think in the music industry, definitely there's a lot more, like, leeway with people just being, like, weird and fishy and slimy and just doing dirty, you know?
Yeah.
So, because it's like the acting stuff is, I don't know, it's, like, weird, but acting, there has to be more. Like, when people present certain opportunities to you, I feel like it's either, you know, it's official or it's not. Like, the music stuff, it's like you could think you're talking to, like, a dope producer or engineer, and they're like, yeah, come to my studio. But it ends up being, like, at their house or, like, at a weird spot. You know what I mean? Like, with the acting stuff, if someone says, yeah, come pull up, like, for this shoot or whatever, it better be official. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to know.
Yeah.
It's a little harder, I think, like, with the music things sometimes, so.
When it comes to your music, whether it's Minute or Nervous, which one would you say speaks to you more as who Carina Barrios really is? As good as those songs are, which one would you say speaks to the audience more about who you are?
That's a good question. Honestly, I'm going to say Nervous. And I say that because there's a line in there that always sticks with me, and it's, I get used to falling out of love. And I feel like that's such a thing for me, you know? So yeah, and there's also certain things like, but the whole nervous thing, the boy you make me nervous, is like, I don't feel nervous often. So
it must take a special human being to get
and
that
exactly.
out of you.
And I think that that's why it is more me and that more like vulnerable side. It is a very pop, like dancey song. So it doesn't feel vulnerable. But yeah, like, you know, when I do come across somebody that gives me those butterflies and makes me nervous or whatever, it's such a, you know, special thing. So, and then also just those emotions that come along with that. And that's something for me personally that is like, I've experienced, I guess, in cycles, you know, just dealing with different people. It's like, it's always having those butterflies, being nervous, and then like going through the motions. And then I get used to falling out of love because usually they're never the right person anyway. So, you know.
So there's no butterflies in your stomach at the moment?
At the moment, no.
Okay.
Unfortunately, no.
It's just tunnel vision with your career right now.
Facts. Yep. Yeah.
Well, it's going to take a certain individual to get those butterflies back up.
For sure.
Yeah. But you know what? That's totally fine. That's totally fine because I think that where you are right now, you know the old saying where they say, you know, you got to strike while the iron is hot. I think that's where you are at a point in your career right now. Me personally, looking from the outside in, and you just have to do whatever it is to take care of what you want to do, what you have to do. Because listen, unfortunately, as much as we know this, there's a lot of people that wish and dream and aspire to do things and be somebody and so on and so forth. But we also know that there's not a lot of people that apply themselves.
Yeah.
And you're certainly a person that is applying themselves into what they want to do. And, you know, not only do you want that to be a motivation for other people, but you want to be an example as well that, listen, hey, bitch, if I can do it, you can do it.
Facts. No, for sure. And it's crazy because it's like, you know, in the times of like music being something that I love to do, and then that transition into like believing that I really can do it and like make it my life and make it my career, it was dealing with like a lot of that. Can I do this? Am I meant for this? What do I even do? And a lot of it is research, man. I'll tell you that. Spending a lot of time on the internet, YouTube, watching videos, just like educating yourself on what goes into this. So yeah, and like at the end of the day, you do literally just have to pull that trigger within yourself and do it. Like learn what it is that you have to do first. You don't want to be completely blind going into anything. You want to do your research and educate yourself as much as possible. And then you do have to just pull the trigger and go for it. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna do things wrong and go through crazy ass experiences.
Yeah, it's not smooth sailing.
No,
you know?
It never is. But all of that really teaches you so much, and it gives you so much, you know, knowledge, and makes you so much more wiser when you do go into the next opportunity or the next situation. And then you become somebody that others can learn from as well, because look at all this experience you have, you know? And if things come quickly and easily, like that's never fun, you know? So you got to appreciate the journey. And another thing that I've like realized more often too is, you know, even these artists that are like going viral or they've made it, quote unquote, or whatever you want to call it, is like they put in their time, man. Like I don't think anybody really just popped like overnight. These people did like put in the work and put in the time. Everyone's story looks different. The timeline is different. But it's like, you know, it all started from an idea, a passion, hopefully, within that you just decided to bring to life. So you got to just keep pressing the gas, no brakes. So, yeah.
To expand a little bit more on that, to anybody out there that's listening and watching this right now, and they're very passionate and they want to do something with their life, but they have that discouragement or they have that fear within them, what would you say to those people that are listening and watching right now?
I would say, first, shake it off. Shake it off. Seriously. Because, like, I get like that, too. I get that funk, you know? So, shake off the funk and ground yourself. Like, do something that you love. Be around people you love. And just go for it. But also create a plan, because when a plan is put into play, it's hard to get off track, you know? There's certain steps, certain things that you know you want to achieve, know that you need to do in order to reach this goal or be at this place, and just go for it. It doesn't matter what anybody says. Your biggest critic is always going to be yourself, because I know that. And I'm sure you know that too. It's like,
oh my God,
no
I'm the
one else
worst.
wants us to be better than ourselves. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm the hardest on myself all the time.
exactly. So it doesn't matter what anyone else says. Everybody, especially nowadays, is trying to really go for what they love. So believe in yourself, because the next person, if you don't do it, they're going to do it. So, and you want to be the person. You don't want to be that other person, okay? So for real, just believe in yourself. The biggest thing is just believe in yourself, you know, and stick to the plan. Keep your head high, and fuck anybody that says you can't do anything, because you can.
That's right. Round of applause real quick, man.
Yeah.
So what's next on the horizon for Carina Barrios?
Next on the horizon. Good question. So a few exciting things, actually. So as far as music, my mind is still so in shambles about like what is actually next with that. I have a few singles that are like ready. It's just a matter of the order and then what's after that. So I've been saying that, you know, by the end of this year, I would like to drop my first body of work. A small EP, you know, something that feels like a little bit of a journey. You know, a lot of people have been asking me for like a body of work too. Just been singles lately, so. But other than that, I just got news a few days ago, actually. I'll be headlining my first show. So I'm really excited for that.
Wow.
That will be in the end of March.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited for that.
Are there any details that you could share right now, or is everything still in the works right now?
A lot of it's still in the works.
Okay.
It's going to be at the end of March and probably in South Jersey, because that is where most of my family and friends are, you know. Definitely going to have other artists involved as well. So not sure when this is going to be out, definitely before the end of March. So if you're looking to perform, definitely tap in.
This will be on in about 72 hours.
Yeah, so definitely tap in. And yeah, I'm also starting my own podcast, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, so that's something that I've been thinking about for a little while, and I finally, you know, put all that into play. So I'll be recording my first episodes very soon.
What are some inspirational? Well, scratch that. I should let me reword it. Which podcasts out there have been an inspiration to kind of be the kind of podcast that you want to put out there?
To be honest, I don't know. Like when I thought of this idea and like thinking, you know, I guess like what I could relate it to, I wasn't thinking about any like particular podcast, but I do like Call Her Daddy.
Okay.
That's just a good one, you know,
Sure.
Especially when artists are on there that I do truly enjoy. What else do I like? I like Keke Palmer's podcast a lot as well.
Okay. I still have to see that movie that she just did with SZA.
Yeah, I know. I want to see it soon too. I haven't seen that yet. But what else? I don't know. There's so many. There also Eight at the Table. I was on that podcast, but that was one of the first podcasts that like caught my eye, and they just do a lot of real talking on different relationship stuff and world stuff and like gender stuff. So it's interesting, you know. They have a lot of different personalities on that show as well.
Do you know if you would be like mostly solo, or would you have guests on?
Oh, I'm definitely gonna have guests. Yeah, for sure. So yeah. You know, I don't want to say too much because I want everybody to be excited for it.
Right, yeah. No, you just have to excuse me because I get very curious about these things. And I don't mean to be like the podcast police or anything like that, but I come from a place, and I don't get this sense from you, but I come from a place where I started this because besides everything that I mentioned earlier on this episode, there's other factors into it. Like there was one time where I wanted to be in the radio business, and that didn't work out, and then this pivoted to what this is, and this is basically essentially what it is. It's still kind of radio-esque in a way.
Yeah.
So like I at least feel like me and a couple other people that I know have some kind of a background and passion for this, where there's other people out there, and trust me, everybody and their mother has a podcast these days, and it's the numbers are out there that a good majority of them don't even pass 10 episodes, because those big people that can't even get to episode 11 doing it for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
So,
yeah.
but I don't necessarily get that sense from you. I think that everything that you do in anything, any aspect that you do in life, whether personal or professionally, I feel like you go at it full throttle.
Thank you. I try my best for sure. And like with the whole podcast thing, you know, the real reason behind it is because it's like I never really said like, I want to be a podcaster, you know, like, but I do really enjoy speaking. I love sharing my thoughts, my emotions, and, you know, it all does come down to like motivating and inspiring others and giving others a platform to share their story as well. So yeah, I wanted to, you know, do that for my supporters and my followers and, you know, the people that are interested in my story and what I have to share with the world. And it just opens up another, you know, avenue of people to get to know me more and enjoy me more. And yeah.
Okay. Well, as much as you've been inspirational on this episode, I'm looking forward to whenever you get that launching and everything else that's going on. So,
and you can be a guest on my podcast.
Oh, wow.
Too.
Thank you.
Yes.
I will humbly accept the invite.
Okay.
I appreciate
awesome.
that. All right. But, Carina, we're up against the clock, but I just have one more segment. But before we get to the final segment, I just want to say thank you so much for not only doing this last minute, but being so open and honest and thorough with everything that you said. I think that people are really going to take this episode and look at it with a lot of inspiration and a lot of thought and provoking ideas. And I think that, you know, I think that when people get when they hear this or they listen to us, watch it, whatever the case may be, I think that they're going to come away with feeling something really good. And hopefully there's like a light bulb that goes off in their head and then they're going to go for whatever they need, that they want to do and what they want to go for. So
I hope so.
I'm very confident in it.
Thank you.
Because you're inspiring me as well.
Hey.
So I think anybody
the
else.
light bulb was going off.
Yes.
The light bulbs. Hey.
Perfect.
I use the light bulb emoji a lot when I do come across posts that like literally give me that like light bulb effect in my head. So yeah, I like that you said that. You know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but my favorite emoji is the flex.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's because that's not me flexing really. That's just me like really saying like I got this shit.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, here we go for our final segment. Now this is called This or That. If you've never seen the show before, what happens is I will ask my guests multiple choice questions. It is inspired off of Black Sheep. So you can get with this, you can get with that. Some questions, some basic ones, and some tailored around here. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's just an opportunity for the audience to get to know you a little bit more about yourself. All right. So are we ready, Nashi?
You could get with
Are
this.
you ready, Karina?
Hey, you could get with that. Yeah.
I love that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go for This or That. You, Miss Barrios. Playlist or podcast?
Playlist.
Slides or Crocs?
Slides.
Beach or pool?
Beach.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Night owl. Not the early bird at all. If you know me, you know me.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
To give or to receive?
To give.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
An extrovert.
Batman or Superman?
Superman.
Iron Man or Captain America?
Iron Man. I love him.
Mofongo or mango?
Mofongo.
Do you call it sauce or gravy?
It depends. What are we talking about? Like stuff that goes in pasta?
Yeah.
That's called gravy.
Okay. So that's what you call it.
That's what I call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you glass half empty or glass half full?
Glass half full.
Okay.
I'm full glass, man.
Would you rather be embarrassed or be afraid?
Be embarrassed.
Do you prefer being too hot or being too cold?
I prefer being too hot.
Do you prefer the window seat or the aisle seat?
The window.
Are you book smart or street smart?
Street smart. Little bit of book smart. I used to be a lot of
Do you
book
prefer
smart.
reading or writing?
Writing.
Cardio or weights?
Or.
Dancing or karaoke?
Dancing.
Drama or comedy?
Comedy. I like to laugh.
Ice water or room temperature?
Ice water.
Movie theater or Netflix?
Netflix.
All right. Off the wall or thriller?
Thriller.
And then finally, teamwork or solo project?
Teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
I was
Ladies
just
and
going to
gentlemen,
say that.
That is going to do it for this or that. That is going to do it for this episode of First Class, Second Place. Thank you to my guest, Carina Barrios, for coming through here.
Thank
I really
you so much
appreciate
for
it.
having
Is there
me.
anybody you want to give a shout out to before we close out?
Shout out to my family, okay, because they made me and I love them. Yeah, shout out to actually I'm going to do this. Shout out to my brother. My brother Louis. He's in Poland right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll make this quick, but he just recently, 2 weeks ago, he plays football. He just graduated college. Now he's playing overseas out in Poland. So shout out to my brother Louis, man, because he's doing big things too, and I'm super proud of him. And he's on the other side of the freaking world right now, like living his dreams. So, shout out to him. And shout out to all of you for tuning in today and being here and watching this. Shout out to you for having me today, Bravery Studios. And you already know.
Thank you. And one more time, your socials to everybody out there.
You can find me on everything at Carina M. Barrios. Actually, Instagram and TikTok's Carina M. Barrios. Everything else is just Carina Barrios.
With a C, correct?
With a C, yeah. Yes. CarinaBarrios.
And also check out your music on Spotify,
Yep,
Apple,
you can
YouTube.
find me on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, iHeart, Deezer, all that good stuff.
Check out my personal favorite, ladies and gentlemen, Nervous. That's also a banger.
Hey!
All right, well, Carina, thank you so much again. And who knows, maybe we'll do this again in the future as well.
Yes, you're going to be on my podcast
Yes,
too, so.
I'm looking forward to that.
Stay tuned.
And ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at I am Jason Enrique on all social media platforms. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Jason Enrique. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week. This has been the First Class, Second Place podcast. We out.
We out. Hey.